Well, hello, hello, hello. Much love to you all. May God bless you all. Hit that like button, share this out. We're going to go over some things that are happening. And guys, we are in a new month. So keep your eyes on the prize, Jesus Christ. We're another day closer. And the weather events and everything that's happening in the world is getting uh, crazier and crazier by the moment. So there was this massive crack that appeared in Mexico. It's a pretty good crack, as it looks like a pretty good amount of land had split apart. This very large crack appeared in Mexico. It was from June 19th to June 21st. The fissure is still growing and is estimated to be from 3.3 by 9.8 feet wide and up to 13 feet deep and up to 4.3 miles long. That's pretty good distance there. So I mean, it may not look like much, it may not look like it's deep, but this is definitely a pretty predominant sign of some activity that's been happening in these regions. Earthquake wise, there has been quite a few earthquakes in these regions. So I got a little short video. I muted the audio so we don't get in trouble from the music they were playing. Sometimes people play some really weird music that really has nothing to do with what we're looking at, but it's a pretty huge fissure that has opened up. It's been really hot in Mexico as well. So, they've been it says the mayor alongside with civil protection team has requested support from the state and federal authorities to address the situation immediately and prevent a possible tragedy. We need to quickly and effective intervention to safeguard the lives and property of our people, the mayor said at a press conference. The state authorities, led by the Secretary of Public Works, Pedro, had began studies to determine the severity of the failure in Tula. So I don't really know what you could do with this. I mean, this is, what you fill it in, and it's just this is ground ripping apart. There's really only God can really fix this in a way that can be fixed. But you know, they're expecting it to possibly get a little bigger potential. So they say that there's certain points that are in the depth up to 13.1 feet, and it's running from north to south. And geologists caution that the underground runoff will continue due to the upcoming rains. So there's upcoming rains, and it could push this along a little further. I'm not going to talk much on this. I know this was last week, but it's still up in the news a lot. But the reason why I want to bring it up is how many we have been seeing throughout the world, these mysterious monoliths that have been coming up. And really, through doing some research about ancient monoliths and ancient things like this, I really think this is a sign of what we're seeing, that people's eyes are off the prize, Jesus Christ. So many talks about aliens, so many talks about this, so many talks about that, UFOs, where people's attention span is being led off from what it is. Yes, there is different monoliths to talk about. There is megalithic monolith type of rock structures that are naturally formed on the earth, or maybe even had a little help with human hands on some of them. But there has been monoliths or obelisk, as you could say, that have been raised up through ancient civilizations. One of the biggest things that pops up is Egyptian. So what I like to put here is that there is a second Exodus that is coming very soon, and all the things of the old are the things of the new still. There's nothing new under the sun. I really think this is a lot of attention where so many people are focused on monolith this, monolith that. I will like to notably add there has been two movies. I did a little research on this, but I'm not going to play the clips. There's two movies in the past 7 years. In 2017, they had a movie called Monolith. It was about a car that looks relatively similar to the Cybertruck that has recently came out, and it has a AI system called Lilith, which of course is demonic. So there was that. Then there was one in the beginning of 2024 era, a little bit before these monoliths start appearing again, of a monolith that comes out of the sky. Both of them are really demonic films. Most films are, but it's showing as you look at these movies. I mean, we've already been predicted programming on everything that's going to happen. So it is pretty funny that the first Monolith movie that I had looked up in 2017 looks really similar to Elon Musk Cybertruck that he's recently came out with. But these things keep on popping up, and I believe they're going to keep on popping up. Um, I mean, you just got to also realize back in Elijah's days, prophets of Baal and all these people were popping up altars. They were putting up all these things that were being worshipped and fashioned. There's nothing new under the sun, guys. I do believe these things are going to keep happening. But of course, as you can tell, they put in here an alien monolith. The word aliens coming up so much, and a lot of people literally worship aliens. But like I said, I'm not going to talk much about this, but I do expect more of them to pop up throughout the history of time. We've talked about this a lot as well too, but I think it's even more predominant with what we're really seeing in the world with powers of the world, especially with Iran as of late. You got to remember the Obama and Biden administration, they paved the way for the nuclear armed Iran. They paved the way for this. And we see that as Iran is on the brink of acquiring nuclear weapons, the responsibility for this development lies squarely on the shoulders of Obama and Biden administration. Through a series of misinformed and misguided policies, they have paved the way for Iran to realize its nuclear ambitions. And of course, with all the things that have happened lately, Iran is on the way to being 100% uranium enriched. So, America's diplomatic efforts, instead of putting a stop to Iran's nuclear program, have only resulted in a series of concessions that have empowered the Iranian regime. But remember, we support Israel, but we also support Iran. We have our cards in on every single side of the world. We don't support North Korea, but we support North Korea. I mean, come on. We Russia doesn't like us, but Russia likes us. It's like a catch-22. Um, Ukraine only shows up just to walk out with $60 billion all the time. So it is what it is. But America plays the side on both sides, and the fact of the matter is Iran is one of those loose cannons, and we have as a nation through our governmental officials paved a way for them to have these nuclear weapons. And with the threat of war that is looming ever so closely, look, it says in Syria, Iran's backing has been pivotal in bolstering the Assad regime by providing military and logistical support, which helped turn the civil war in Assad's favor. And also in Yemen, Iran's financial and military aid to the Houthi rebels fueled an ongoing conflict that has had devastating humanitarian consequences and has further destabilized the region. And for instance, in Lebanon, as battling has been going on, Iran's support of Hezbollah strengthened by the group's military capabilities and political clout and made Lebanon into a solid Iranian proxy. When the Trump administration came into office, the fortunes of Iran shifted dramatically. The Trump administration implemented a maximum pressure policy aimed to curtailing Iran's economic capabilities by particularly focus on reducing the country's oil exports. So, as we see what is taking place over here, we're only so close to a war happening. There's been bombing back and forth on Hezbollah in Lebanon, and Hezbollah's bomb back and forth. We are at a moment that we could see a full-out war happening here, and the Houthi rebels are one of those that have kind of been uh, doing little strategic strikes here and there. And of course, who are they funded by? They're funded by Iran. And now, of course, you have Russia, you have North Korea, you have China. They're all forming pacts together. And Turkey is one of those that is starting to get their, playing cards in the field here as well. And speaking of Hezbollah and Iran plot Mediterranean war strategy against Israel. So Hezbollah, under the leadership of Hassan, is coordinating with Iran to open a new front against Israel in the Mediterranean. The objective is to neutralize the capabilities of the Israeli Air Force, which Hezbollah perceives as its greatest threat. So this strategy includes targeting Cyprus, which he suspects could severe as a alternate operational base for the IAF in an event of a war with Lebanon. So there was recent warnings from the leadership in Iran to Cyprus aimed to discourage its cooperation with Israel as part of a as part of a broader Hezbollah Iranian campaign to raise international awareness about the potential consequences of an all-out war with Israel. So it says seeks to generate this international pressure on Israel to prevent a significant preemptive attack, whether by air or by ground strikes, including large-scale airstrikes like those that opened the 2006 Second Lebanon War after Hezbollah ambushed Israeli soldiers on patrol. He emphasized that a future conflict will differ significantly with new rules and strategies. Hezbollah's threats include a first strike on Israel involving a ground invasion of the Galilee, possibly via tunnels, attacks on Israeli ships in the Mediterranean, deploying swarms of drones into Israeli airspace to target military bases and strategic facilities, and attacking Israel's gas rings in the Mediterranean Sea. One if by land and two if by sea. No Iranian warship that could threaten Israel are currently in the Mediterranean, we might add. So, definitely, guys, as we've been seeing a lot of things going back and forth and continuing to go back and forth, it's only a matter of time, it seems like, before this happens. Notably, here, the Houthis have claimed to hit 150 ships that are linked to Israel so far since this war has begun. The Houthi rebels have done, like I said, pretty strategic strikes here and there, little bitty jabs here and there, but they have formed pretty much a big blow in the long run. So only a matter of time, ISIS-linked individuals stream over Biden's borders. We've talked about this quite a bit, but more reports are coming up as a startling new report has revealed that an ISIS-affiliated smuggling network was able to slip over 400 individuals into U.S. southern border on Biden's administrative watch, with locations of more than 50 of them currently unknown. So experts say that the administration open border policies are vastly increasing the likelihood of a major terrorist threat on U.S. soil. It doesn't even matter if just one of them isn't found. All it takes is just, you can read the Bible and even, for instance, back this up. It just takes one person to really start a revolutionary against people. I mean, you had Israel had so many people they had, but David only had 600 of the strong and valiant men with him, and they went and hid in caves and did all these things. So, you know, 50, 10, doesn't matter. They come in here and we see that this nation has got a youth that is so uneducated, a youth that is they won't fact check anything. They take whatever the mainstream media tells them and they run with it and protest with it. So it just really takes one person here with already tensions rising that, you know, hate the Jews and hate Christians, and I mean it just takes one person to really feel that. But 50 of them that they can't find, let alone. It says 3 U.S. officials told NBC News that 150 of the individuals have been arrested, and Immigration and Custom Enforcement is currently attempting to locate the remaining persons. So, over 50 locations they've came through unknown, and you've got 250 of them or wherever. We don't know. What was it, about a month ago, almost maybe 2 weeks ago, we did a report that you had 2 people captured in New York, 2 in Philadelphia, and 2 in California that were ISIS Russian spies that were captured here in America. We did the report a few months ago that there's been so many people from Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, China, Russia that are crossing this border, and they're not even from Mexico. Why? Because there's an open border policy. So, of course, people know we can just flood through. Remember, also, Russia's over by Cuba with all these ships and all that. All they got to do is just go to the bottom of Mexico, and these people being told, given orders, march across the border. It's open policy, anyways. So, hey, just go do what you want to do. It's really kind of what it seems like is going to happen, anyways, with open border policies. No other nation in the world has open border policies like this. But so the group highlighted President Joe Biden's decision to withdraw U.S. forces from Afghanistan as particularly catastrophic. The United States has lost significant intelligence collection capabilities in the region, leaving the federal authorities blind and deaf to the emerging threats emanating from the region. So, plus we left all the weapons for them. Remember that. So we had a lot of intelligence back there that was really telling us what was going to happen and what we could be looking for on our soil, that we don't have this capability now, guys. So the U.S., beginning with President Obama, has battled ISIS most frequently inside Iraq, Syria, and more recently in Afghanistan. However, even though we continue to pressure the radical group with our troops on the ground in the Midwest or Mideast, the terrorist network has consistently wanted to bring the fight to America's homeland. And I seriously believe that's going to happen. So it's only a matter of time before these sleeper cells that are now inside America gain the knowledge and means to create another September 11th, 2001 Black Swan event. So let's talk about a few earthquakes that had happened before we go any further. So there has been some predominant earthquakes today. Just 19 minutes ago, Tokyo, Japan, by the Philippine Sea, had a 3.2. Some of the real notable ones we might add as Peru. Of course, this region's been hit a lot recently. They had a 4.0. You go off the coast of northern Peru, had a 4.0 just 27 minutes ago. So within 27 minutes, two 4.0s in two different locations around Peru. And also Argentina, that's around the area. They've had some threes and a 3.1. So let's scroll a little further. You see there's a lot of threes around the Philippines regions and whatnot. But Argentina had a 4.3 just an hour and 36 minutes ago. There was a pretty predominant one on further down. Near the coast of the southern Peru was a 4.0 just 2 hours ago. A lot of shaking going on over there. So China also had a 4.4 just 2 hours ago with a 3.7 not long after that. Now we see this 4.6 in this Bellini Islands region. This is way down here. They had a 4.6 almost 3 hours ago. Chile had a 4.5 3 hours ago. Here's China again in the same area. That's 4.4 and 3.7. They had another 3.7. There was a 4.6 in Tajikistan 4 hours ago. The 5.0 is one of the biggest ones we've seen so far here in Papua New Guinea. They had a 5.0. And then a 4.3 in Bolivia, 4.1 off the coast of Peru. Peru, like I said, is having a lot. You have Indonesia, had a 4.8 and a 4.1. 4.2 in the same area of China that we've been talking about. 4.3 in Kazakhstan. 4.0 in Mexico. So like we were talking about in the beginning about all the cracks, this isn't at that same exact location, but there has been a lot of earthquakes in the surrounding areas and around the area where these crackings are taking place. So it's just really no surprise. The biggest one that happened in the Philippines so far was a 4.8 earlier today, 9 hours ago. And then you have, of course, the same area in China, 4.0. You have over here, and this would also be the Philippines too, just a different little island. They had a 4.4. Ecuador had a 4.2. There was a lot of reports of feeling that one. The Philippines had a 4.8. There was a 5.0 in the North Mariana Islands just 10 hours ago. Mexico, once again, had a 4.1. Mexico, 4.0. So like I said, guys, as you see all this happen, 5.1 in the Bellini Islands region, which they just recently had one, as you've seen up at the top. So some more shaking going on over there. Bolivia had a 4.0. Japan had a 4.1. And this is just to start this new month. So South Africa, there's a question mark. 431 people have felt it, but they don't know what the magnitude was. But 431 people, it's quite a bit of people to say they felt a shaking. So, and then of course over here in the Philippines, again, this is another one of the islands, a 4.4. A lot of predominant earthquakes happening, a lot of shaking, rattling, and rolling going on, lots of cracks and things happening on the earth, and lots of false worship of monoliths and all these demon type of things. Lots of regimes that are not for their own country, but for the destruction of this country. Of course, every country falls at some point in time. But guys, we need to keep our eyes on the prize, Jesus Christ. We're getting really close to the return of our Lord and Savior. I do have planned later today, I'm going to plan a Bible study. We weren't going to do it on Wednesday, but we're going to, because we're not going to be able to street preach on Thursday. It's just, it's not looking very pretty. It's looking 90% chance um, for the whole day and night. I mean, from like 3 a.m. to like 12 a.m. the next day. We're talking thunderstorms for like the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're just going to be playing it by ear whenever we do the next street preaching here in Indianapolis in July. So thank you all. Hit that like button. May God bless you all. And remember, you fight from victory, not from defeat. And that's thanks to the blood of King Jesus. He conquered death on that cross. There's no other way to the Father other than Jesus Christ. Submit your life to him today. Much love.